So from a UTS perspective, one of the key things that we like to show is that we're #1 in Australia for computer science and engineering. And that's happened last year. We overtook, I think it was ANU sometime last year for that particular position. And we're very, very proud of that. And a couple of the other interesting stats you might see on this page is that we're Australia's #1 young university. We are 32 years old, I think it is now. And a young university is under the age of 50. And we're in the top 150 universities globally by one of the QS ranking system. And I believe that's out of Shanghai. And we are in the top 100 globally for graduate employability, which is really good from the perspective of any of the students who come here to our university. And we have nearly 3,000 postgraduate students enrolled in engineering and IT. So our IT programs, we have 4 key programs within the faculty, and then the 5th one is done in conjunction with another one of the areas of UTS. So our information technology program, we have a Master of IT area which has graduate certificates and additional masters, so an extension and an advanced. And when you see the word advanced in our programs here, that's about the second year being a big research project. So it's not a full research degree, but it will help you get down that path if that's the path you wish to choose. So you have graduate certificates and master's degrees in all of our programs in information technology, information systems, internetworking if you're a bit more technical, and also interaction design. And the final program there is run in conjunction with the transdisciplinary innovation area of the university. It's a master's degree, which we have a slide about later, which has a lot more detail on that one. IT programs, as I said, graduate certificate, which is 4 subjects. And that's really set up. We have 2 graduate certificates there, one for people who come from a non-IT background and others who come from an IT background. So if you're thinking of retraining to move into an IT program, then we have a graduate certificate with you that sets you up with the foundation knowledge, and then you can move forward. And then our other graduate certificate is for those who have IT, and then they can maybe they just need a little bit of information in a particular area. And then we have our Master of IT and Master of IT Extension. And both of those programs have these majors you can see in front of you: information systems, cyber security, data analytics, interactive media, internetworking, and a software development major. So that's where you can drill down and get some depth in an area. Or if you want to get a bit of breadth across a couple of those areas, you might pick the no specified major. And so I could do 2 or 3 subjects from software and maybe one networking and something from data analytics. So you get breadth across a few areas rather than depth into a particular area. And then those programs also have some core elements around key things you need in IT, such as project management and also research preparation, because even though you might think of research as academic, well, research is an integral part when you're even an IT professionals, because you have to do research. It may not be the same, but getting some research preparation is really good. And as I say, if you went into the advanced program, you would do a equivalent of a semester or a semester and a half's worth of a research project in that advanced program. Then our interaction design program, again, it's a technical degree, but it's in that interaction design. It's how you're going to interact with the computer, or might be in the games area, things along those lines. And they have some core areas, as you can see the list of subjects there, Core A and Core B, and you can see foundational stuff in Core A, then more about the experience side of things in Core B. Then you have some choice around data analytics or games or research. And again, the extension, big project work in that final component of that extension area for the interaction design degree. Then our new program in information systems, which has started this year. And if I like to talk about information systems, we understand we have a technology layer, which is where our MIT sits. And then our information system sits on top of that, because it's more than just the technology. It's taking in what's happening in the organisation or what's happening in society or the community. And so really here we're focusing on the IS application areas, complex information systems, but knowing that they sit on a level which is that technology layer. And so you'll get skills to design, build, deploy, and evaluate systems that are there to manage complex problems. And there are going to be many, many complex problems going forward in the world. And one of them will be why we're having this webinar tonight with the global pandemic that's happening, and how we might have predicted that better, or how we may be able to use that information to predict things into the future. And it might also be there how you might use IT to change from an economic, social or environmental perspective. And again, that has the graduate certificate, the masters, an extension masters and an advanced masters. And then we move on to the animation and visualization degree. This is the one that's run in conjunction with our transdisciplinary group within the university. And it's an accelerated masters. It's 1 year. So it starts in January, finishes in December across 3 teaching sessions. And it's run in conjunction with the UTS Animal Logic Academy. So that's Animal Logic, who are great, who've won a few Academy Awards and things like that. So you're there learning with the experts in the field. And it's really about the next generation for animation, digital artists. And it's an immersive learning experience because it's done in 3 sets of project-based subjects over in a very short and intense time in that 10-month period, so to speak. And yeah, obviously the latest tools and technologies. And because it's the Animal Logic Academy, you've got access to industry experts who can come in and help in that program. And then I'm going to hand over to Natalie, who's going to talk about the new programs for this year.
Thank you, Alan, for that nice segue over to some really exciting programs that we're launching in 2020. And although these programs reside in the Faculty of Engineering and IT, and tonight you're at an IT presentation, they're a little bit different to what you might think of an IT specialist degree. They're broader degree or suites of degree programs which equip you to deal with the technological world in which we live and equip you to manage and lead within this digitally disrupted environment, as well as looking at some of the key global issues that we face as engineering, IT and other professionals. So the 2 new programs are the Master of Professional Practice and the Master of Technology. And nested within those are also graduate certificates and graduate diplomas. The really appealing aspect of these new programs is that we don't tell you exactly what to do. You, as the engaged learner with these new master's programs, custom fit the masters to suit you. Where are you at in your career? Where are you at and where do you want to go with your learning? We have a specialist service associated only with these programs, which is a learning concierge. And that is a dedicated learning advisor who works with myself as the course director to help guide you with subject selection. Because 2/3 of the program are free for you to choose from a whole range of subjects that have been curated across the university. The really other innovative aspect of these new custom fit masters is the studio experience. Studio is core to these programs. It forms the spine or the backbone of the programs. And in these studios, you work with a range of other professional learners, students, who come from industry and from diverse backgrounds, and you work collaboratively on complex problems. You'll learn things like design thinking, how to engage stakeholders, how to plan and execute projects, how to grapple with things like sustainability, equity, diversity, the environmental, social and economic problems that face industries. You can bring problems from your own industry, your own background, or the problems can be seeded from our industry partners working with UTS on the new custom fit masters. The important thing with these custom fit masters is that we are gathering together a cohort of learners who have industry experience and a breadth of background that they're bringing to the table to help develop you and your career and your future together. Not only are the areas of study broad and offer quite a number of choices for you, you also have a choice about how much time you can commit and also how much money you might be able to commit to your future study. And UTS offers a whole raft of options for you. You can dip your toe in the water with a free online taster course, and you can get a sense of what subject areas are like and what study might be like. You might like to undertake a short course, which is focused on some really specific skills to further your career. There's also some scope with higher education certificates, which are the newly announced support packages from the government and which UTS is engaged in. As I mentioned, the award courses start from a graduate certificate, graduate diploma, master's, master's extension, and master's in advanced. Each of those have a different credit point and duration for completion. Not all of the courses can start with a graduate diploma. The Master of Professional Practice and the Master of Technology do have a starting point within the graduate diploma. And if there's some specific questions about where to start or which ones are the best starting point for you, you might like to pop them through in the chat and we can answer your questions there. Alan, I think hand back to you if there was something else that you wanted to mention in regard to those options.
Just mention one thing. With the advanced programs, there is no direct entry. So you're in the extension program, and where you would do the first year in the extension program, and then you would do a transfer within the university, what's known as an internal course transfer to the advanced program. And as part of that transfer, you would have identified a project to take you, a big project that you could do in the advanced part of the course, and also have approval from a supervisor to do that.
Thank you, Alan. If we have a look at this next part, the short courses are something that could be really valuable for you at this time. There's a wide range of technology and business focused short courses offered by our faculty and by the university more broadly. And these short courses might be the jump start to a future career or study direction for you. They could be providing a nice CV boost for you, or might be filling in some gaps about newly emerging technology. And we can help you have a look at the catalogue and see what might suit you. Also in the chat, if you've got any questions about short courses.
Just before we move on, if you do want to know about the taster, there's that web address down the bottom that you could use as well.
So, hi guys. Like I said earlier, I'm doing my master's in information technology, majoring in data analytics. So basically, I'm an international student here. So when I applied to UTS, basically I chose the university based on the ranking and the course structure they offered. So UTS definitely gave me the flexibility to choose a different courses. For example, I wanted to do a master's in data analytics, but I also wanted to touch base with the business side as well. So UTS gave me the, they offered me to choose majors as data analytics, and sub majors, they had a lot of other options. So one thing I like about UTS is almost all of the staffs have the industry experience. So when you attend the classes and when you get in touch with them, you'll actually understand how this subject is actually going to be helpful in the industry, how you're going to apply it. And also with regards to the course structure, so it starts from the base to the extreme. So you learn all the basics first, and you'll be moving forward. That's the thing I like about this FEIT faculty. And I also wanted to share some of my experiences wherein there were a few subjects. So the staffs really credit you for the work you do. So if they really find that you are talented and you have the potential to do that, they'll definitely credit you. Wherein in some of the subjects we did have, the staffs gave up the internship opportunities for the students, like 2 or 3 of them who were really good at their work. And also the staffs here are like, they care a lot about you, so they check frequently that are you doing okay, or if you face any difficulties, just you can approach them directly and you can just talk to them. And also coming to the assignments inside, they help you a lot in that as well. So for example, Alan was also one of my lecturer for the project management. So to be honest, he's one of the best lecturer that I ever met. So the other things I wanted to share is, now we know we are in the new normal phase wherein we have to take up the classes in Zoom. Trust me, UTS is doing super good in that. I don't see any difference at all. And I should really at this point appreciate all my staffs. Like, they spend extra hours for us. So usually if the lecture is for 3 hours, they just take up to 4 or 5 hours to they just ensure that everything is a bit sorted from our side. So in that way, UTS is doing, it's super organized. You don't see any difference at all. So it looks like you just have your laptop in front of you. That's it. There's nothing much difference I could see as a student by myself. And also with regards to the studies and the load they give us, it's super balanced again. So these are the few experiences that I wanted to share being a student. So I'll see you all in the question. Thank you.
So one of the big questions we always get asked is about fees. So fees at UTS are calculated per credit point. And as you saw on those slides Natalie went through, you saw variations of course length from 24 credit points to 96 credit points. And so if you look there, a graduate certificate in IT, which is 24 credit points at $650 a credit point, comes out to $15,500 approximately. And then unless you are part of that 2020 federal government COVID support initiative, and I'm sure we have the figures on that, which we can talk about in the question section later. And then obviously that number, that figure of $650, if you're doing a full master's degree of 96 credit points, you can do the maths for that yourself. But if you can take advantage of the support initiative of the federal government, that will quite reduce your fees quite considerably. And even if you do go on and do a full program, that will be reduced from that first bit of study under the government's initiative. And these are indicative fees for domestic students only. Some of our courses have slightly different fee calculations depending on what's involved in them, but it's sort of roughly around that, excuse me, roughly around that $650 mark per credit point. So it's a couple of things to remember now. Some of you have been, we saw from the poll, have been thinking about doing postgraduate study for 12 or more months. But before you apply, you need to really check the session date. So our next session is going to start probably in late July. That's if you're doing any of the programs other than the Master of Animation and Visualization. There might be some admission requirements. So to get into a master's degree, for example, you need to have a bachelor's degree. But if you've got a lot of work experience, you might have a diploma from another institution. You can come in via that graduate certificate pathway to go through to a master's degree that way. Any documentation that you'd need to submit with your application certainly needs to be certified, unless you bring that in yourself and you submit your application in person, and then those documents would be witnessed by the people taking your application. Obviously, there's an English proficiency for the courses that is needed, certainly from an international student's perspective. There's a level you need to have attained. And there are certainly, if you have studied prior, and you may be able to get some recognition of prior learning into your program, which may shorten that length of the course. And from an IT course perspective, there's a time window of 3 years, given the change that happens in the IT sector. So our recognition of prior learning is based on study you've done in the previous 3 years. How to apply, some websites here, which obviously, as Bruce said, you'll get those with the recording of the webinar tonight, but there's 2 ways to apply. If you're a domestic student, you have one particular way, and if you're an international student, there's another way. And those, obviously, those addresses will be made available to you after tonight or later tonight. But if you're interested in the Master of Animation and Visualization, it has a completely different application process, and you need to submit a portfolio of your work, an academic record, if applicable, and a personal statement about why you want to apply and what you're going to get out of that course and why you want to do it. And if you wanted to see the sort of work that came out of that particular program, there's another address here, the Animal Logic Academy at uts.edu.au, and you could see what the students are doing in that particular course to see if it really was what you were after. And there we go. So applications are open on July for the 2021 intake. So there is only one intake per year in this course because it runs in January, then another session, and the final 3rd session finishes in December. So there is only the one intake per year. And so here's some common questions that well, they're not really common questions, but they're about where you might find some answers, I suppose. So fees, we've got a website at the university that will help you with that fee calculation. As I said, some of the courses have slightly different fees, so you'd be able to find that out there. If you need study assistance, there is a government website that could help you there. Credit recognition, assessed on application and entry to the course and done on a case-by-case basis. Timetable, you can find out when things are scheduled to run by the timetable app. There's international students have a particular web page there. The applications certainly are done on a case-by-case basis from a postgraduate perspective. Short courses, we have there some information on that website. And scholarships is another web page at the university, and the scholarships that would be on that web page are for 2020. But chances are a lot of those scholarships would stay in place, or there will be similar scholarships going forward into 2021. And the other thing to remember is if you are an alumni of UTS, you can receive a 10% discount on your fees because you've come back to do the next part of your study journey with UTS.
I'd also want to make sure that you connect with us digitally. So obviously we have the UTS feed as our for Facebook, Instagram. If you want to send us an email with any inquiry at all, feet@uts.edu.au is the right email address to use. And our website, either the faculty website, or you can go to it.uts.edu.au for specific information about IT.